Hey everyone, it's Gianna at Convincing Crypto, where we keep you in the loop on all latest trends and news on crypto blockchain technology. Today, we have a very special guest on our show. We have Navjit. He's Dr. Navjit Dhaliwal. He is the CEO of Iagon. If you want to wave to the camera, you can, Navjit.
Hi guys. Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Of course, of course. I'm super excited to dive in on what you're doing. As usual, though, little disclaimer, this is not an endorsement of any project in any way. So please, everybody, do your own research before you invest in anything. But this is an awesome opportunity to get to know the people behind these projects and to learn what everyone's up to. So before we dive into what your project is, I want to know, Navjeet, how did you get into the blockchain space? How did you even come up with the idea for Iagon? And did you have any skepticisms when first getting into this?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I got into the space. I read the book Satoshi Paper, actually, not the book
Ah,
paper, in 2013, and that's when I first became interested in blockchain. Of course, there was skepticism at first, That's why I read the paper, and that's why I tried to understand because it's always, you have your own kind of mind made up at the beginning, but once you start reading it into it and understanding a little bit why this technology was made, it's very intriguing. So after a few reads, I kind of understood a little bit of what the concept was, and not the obviously at that time it was more realized. So what he was trying to build when he first introduced it. So I try to implement that into what my sector was at that time, which is healthcare.
hmm.
I'm a healthcare professional. So I work a lot with sensitive data, private data, things like that. So try to use the blockchain technology as this kind of like a security layer for the files and to make sure that they're private and secure. And it was very early on the idea in 2013, so didn't reapproach the idea again till 2017, early 2017, and then that's where I understood that I needed to get some skilled people that understood the technology better than myself, working with me on the idea to mature it. And we actually matured the idea much more than just focusing on healthcare records and privacy, much more into a decentralized cloud service that's managed by machine learning. And that's how the whole vision started.
Can you tell me more about how you met your whole team? I know you told me you moved all the way to Norway back in 2013. So how did that all happen?
Yeah, actually, my wife is from Poland, so
Okay.
we met in Poland when I was doing some of my studies there as well. In 2006, we met, and when I was studying there and moved to Norway, seemed convenient for both of us for work purposes and for starting a family. Canada, I actually grew up in Canada, so
Hmm.
Canada wasn't an option. Poland wasn't an option. So Norway was the kind of the middle ground, I guess. We went there and met the team in 2017. That's when the other co-founders, two of them are actually in the US where you are. Dr. Claudio Lima, he's from Houston, Texas, and Dr. Rohit Gupta, he's from Seattle. Both of them have their expertise and different skill sets. Claudio has his specialty in blockchain architecture, telecommunications, and Rohit he wrote his thesis paper in 2005 in terms of decentralized compute. And he was a former director of technology for Expedia, currently one of the senior managers at Google. So very intriguing to have him board because his thesis paper related directly to what we're trying to accomplish today. So he wanted to finalize his kind of life's work, and it was a great time for him to approach us and also us to approach him. Claudio, just to mention, he was the former CTO of Huawei in East Asia. So a lot of experience in terms of technology there. And then we have Dr. Alad Harrison, who's based out of Israel. He's also a machine learning professor, AI expert, and also an economics professor. So a lot of skill set that have different kind of, let's say, roles to play in
Hmm.
building up the company, and different thought processes that actually helped mold the vision of Iagon. So that's how the team started.
Wonderful. Yeah, I noticed on your website when one of our subscribers actually recommended that I check out what you're doing and just do a short video first before meeting you. And I noticed you had a lot of researchers, you had a lot of bright minds on your team, and a lot of people who have been in research for a while. So I really appreciated that because sometimes like people don't even have a face to who the project's behind. And I'm like, okay, these are real people. They're doing real research and they've had years and years of expertise in this. So I always like seeing stuff like that, especially in this space.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, definitely is something that we can, relate to in terms of Cardano, in terms of research
Hmm.
paper, how they're built. A lot of these guys, Rohit and Alad especially, have done a lot of research and a lot of paperwork before, and they come from the academia background, right? So they have that instilled in them.
So can you go over a little bit more on what Iagon is and what its use cases are?
Sure. So Igon is basically an Airbnb for cloud storage and cloud compute. But basically what we're doing is matching users with idle capacities. So anyone can provide their idle capacities, kind of like Airbnb, you can provide your house or your apartment, and it has different features, different sizes in terms of rooms, all right, to different looks and different needs, basically for different people, right?
Hmm.
It might be a cottage in the hills and, on the mountains where maybe you want to go for a nice visit, or it might be in the city where you want to visit the city downtown, right? Same thing here where you have different storage providers. You have high performance, high availability, different locations. And basically, we're matching it up to the user's needs. So whatever the user needs, in terms of location, in terms of performance, we match them up accordingly. And this is very important for compliance and regulation, for example. So if you want to, for example, be compliant in the EU for data regulations, we have something called GDPR, which is that data cannot be transferred outside of EU. So for clients that need that, especially Web2 enterprises, they are by law obligated to follow these data regulations. So they would require the data not leave outside of the EU. And this is what we are enabling. We're enabling one-click compliance through this method. And what we're doing differently compared to decentralized and centralized services is for decentralized services, we're learning the behavior of these resource providers, like performance, like availability, like location, different factors that are important to the end users, and matching them accordingly. Sorry. And for centralized services, basically, it's decentralized stored in terms of how we store the data. So if someone sends us file, it's sharded, encrypted, and send across to the resource providers that they choose. For centralized, for example, services like Google AWS, a file is in a specific place at a specific server at a specific
Hmm.
time, right? So if there's any kind of leak, and we see these data leaks all the time, basically people can access that server, all the files inside the servers. If this is something that like that happened to a node operator in our system, you would only you won't even see a picture of that shard. It'll be kind of useless information. So the only person that's able to access the data on our side is the person that uploaded the data. So you have full operational sovereignty of your files, full control, and that's kind of the major aspect in terms of decentralization and centralization.
That's so much more secure. Yeah. So I want to know what's the first word that you want people to think when they think about Iagon, when they hear Iagon, and why?
First word that we want to hear, I guess, because we're catering to Web 2 enterprises, is one-click compliance. I guess it's more than one word, but
Let's have a bunch
compliance
of
is how
dashes,
it's
one click
done.
compliance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one phrase.
Yeah, one phrase I would say. Yeah, one-click compliance is what we're after.
So I know you have the IAG token. Can you talk a little bit more about what that is and what the utility of that token is?
Sure. So the IGON is rewarded to the idle capacities that are provided from the different node operators, right? So anyone that's providing their idle capacity, it could be you or me, whoever has idle capacity, storage, or compute. They're providing to IGON, the IGON network. They're getting paid back in IGON tokens. The IGON tokens are first to initially kickstart the incentive program. Over time, these rewards are going to diminish, but hopefully we get, after those rewards diminish, we have something called revenue sharing or fee sharing within the protocol. So 90% of the fees that are paid to the protocol are given to the node operators. There's further 10% is broken down to buying back the tokens, also giving back to the people that are staking the IG tokens, and also given to the Iagon treasury. So why this is important, what the node operators need to do when they're actually providing their service, they need to create a kind of a contract between themselves and the network. The contract is staking a certain amount of Iagon tokens to provide the services. This creates kind of like a trust bond between the network and the node operator, because now you're saying that I've put my money on the line to contribute, and I won't be a bad actor, right? I won't do anything fishy or things like that. Of course, that could still happen, but that's something that is an extra kind of trust bond that we try to create a reliable service for the end users. Because what happens if you don't have that trust bond, you can have bad actors that come in and maybe even shut down their nodes and come back again and easily kind of operate like that. And that's not very a reliable system for end users that actually using the service, right? So the token is a multiple layer utility. You also get discounted services. For example, if you sign up for the Iagon subscription packages. So if you're holding Iagon tokens, you can get double the storage. That's double the amount of storage that actually is for a normal package.
And how many node operators do you have right now? And are they spread
Uh,
out
I,
over the world?
I think there's right now 126 node operators, and less than we started actually on Christmas
Oh,
24th. And it's been a little bit over a week. So over a week, we have 126 node operators in 29 different countries and over almost 90 cities, unique cities.
wow.
Yeah.
It's impressive. So you've been,
Yes.
yeah, you've been operating for, yeah, just about a week now. Huh?
Yes. Thank
Congrats
you.
on the launch of that. It's amazing. So I know with the rise of AI and the growing need for more computing capacity all around the world, projects like yours are going to be more and more important, and they're also going to need to scale up. So I'm wondering, what's your plan to scale up? What's your plan to have more node operators? And do you also plan to scale up in developing countries? And if so, what developing countries do you plan on expanding to?
Yeah, I mean, we already have a lot of node operators in different countries. So
Hmm.
in 29 different countries already. The developing countries like, Philippines, Vietnam, there's a lot of different node operators already in those countries, right? So in terms of adoption, what we're trying to, in adoption and trying to expand our node network, we're going to have a referral program, which hasn't been released fully yet publicly, but we think that it's going to create more user adoption. So first, we want to focus on expanding the node network, providing the kind of demand there, or sorry, the capacity for the demand to have that already there. And then we want to cater to having demand on the network, meaning people using actually the storage and the compute. The compute is coming out at the end of this quarter. That's what the
Okay.
plan is. Um, and right now it's just the storage. So once the compute comes out, we're also going to be providing services that we're building, like services on top of the infrastructure, on top of the storage, on top of the compute, that we think will cater to adoption. Yeah. So for example, we already have web hosting that is available. A lot of people actually hosted their websites on Iagon.
Wow.
So that's live now. We have something called Ledger Flow, which is also live now, which is an accounting dApp for Web3 users, where you can create your multi-sig. You can manage your assets in an easy way. You can send and receive invoices. Eventually, you're going to have taxes there. So you have a
Wow.
tax application to calculate your tax for the year, for your trading and all that. So kind of a one click, not a one click, one service, kind of one stop shop for your kind of needs as a Web3 project or a person, for example, where you can manage your funds in an easy way. And we have like kind of like a Dropbox type of storage solution where
Hmm.
you can upload your files, download your files, eventually share your files as well. These kind of tools that we're creating on top of the infrastructure. We're going to have, eventually we will have mail, docs, encrypted messaging. These kind of features will be added on to the services to trying to create a multimedia dApp, something similar to like Google, where you have different features that you can use.
But
Um,
decentralized and much more secure.
Yes, built on the decentralized infrastructure that
Hmm.
is the storage and the compute. And when the compute comes out, we'll have services like operating your own nodes, basically plugins, making it very simple and easy to use for end users. So even anyone that doesn't have tech experience can run a node with
Wow.
easy use by just installing a plugin. So it'll be very, we're trying to create these kind of demand features on top of the infrastructure to gain the. Why this is important is because we believe that all these protocol revenues that are coming in and people that are using the platform, this revenue will be shared with the node operators, as I
Hmm.
mentioned before. So as the revenue is shared, as the protocol grows, as the adoption grows, we think that more node operators will be coming into fruition to at least get some of the protocol fees, right? So we're trying to incentivize people, not just from rewarding them with Iagon tokens, but also to tell them, hey, there's some protocol fees at stake as well. So if you provide your services, you can also get part of the protocol fees as well.
It's great. And how do you go about hosting a website through Iagon? What's the process for that?
It's pretty simple, actually. There's an app on the website that you can log into app.iagon.com and log in your wallet, and there's a website app on the right side, and you can definitely host your assets directly onto the Iagon storage.
Okay, very cool. So I know as things scale up, I know people are wondering about the energy intensivity of things too. So I'm wondering, do you have any commitments to environmental sustainability? And if so, what are those?
Now, that's a great question. We had our actually first node operator that actually recently is fully run on renewable energy.
Wow.
There's going to be a metric actually for these kind of things where we
Hmm.
can actually track kind of how much renewable energy is kind of how many nodes are using renewable energy and kind of proof of renewable energy, if you want to call it that, right? But it's just going to showcase for the users how much carbon footprint they're actually having on effect on by just using Igon as a service.
Uh-huh.
So how much emissions are being saved and stuff like that. So it'll be definitely something that people will, I think, especially that are people that are environmentally conscious, be inclined to use, and maybe even people that want to be carbon neutral.
Hmm. Do you think there'll be some kind of incentive system to use the renewable energy ones in the future? Or do you think it's just a cool feature for people to just brag that, hey, I'm using the one that's renewable?
I think a lot of the node operators will, and that's it's not so incentivization. I think it's just
Okay.
we want to leave it to the users. All this permissions and all these access is going to be left to the user's choice, and also the node's choice, right?
Hmm.
The system is not to exclude anyone, or it's not meant to be exclusive for certain parties. It's meant to make a choice that's yours, purely yours. You have full control from the user aspect. You have full control as a node aspect on how you want to run your services or how you want to operate on Igon as a user, right? So these kind of like features that people might want to showcase that they have reduce their emissions, their carbon footprint, for example, just by using the services, or that they can, choose specifically carbon neutral, node operators if they want to.
Got it. Yeah, I think it should be up to the people, definitely.
Yes.
I want to know, what are you looking forward to the most in the next year and why? And do you have any big plans for Igon in 2024?
And there's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot of things that
Yeah.
we're developing, I guess, parallel. So there's a lot of things that we're looking forward to. The compute is the one, like I would say, it's a short term that we're definitely looking forward to. There's a lot of possibilities after we complete that. Um, where we would be, what was your other question? Where would we want to see Igon this year, or?
Yeah, do you have any big plans for this year? And maybe do you have any collaborations that you're brewing up?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of collaborations that we do want to showcase or announce, but we don't want to we
Okay,
don't
that's
want
top secret.
to we don't want to announce it right away. So or we can't according to the NDAs and all that. But
Okay.
we will announce them. So with due time, these will be announced and one by one. So we have some nice kind of nice surprises for the community for sure.
Okay, another question I did have for you is that I know you fully migrated to Cardano, and a lot of people watching our show are big fans of Cardano. So I want to know what was the reasoning behind that, and what have you liked about Cardano so far?
Yeah, so we actually thought about Cardano since a while actually. So we
Hmm.
had a first kind of MVP on Ethereum in 2019. Um, and we realized around that time that, that even in 2018, when we had an internal MVP already ready, we realized that, that architecture needs changes because the practicality of Ethereum wasn't going to cut it. Right
Hmm.
now, for example, on the Cardano, just going ahead on Cardano, we're able to offer a subscription package of $24 for 1 TB per year, right? So you're able to use 1 TB of data for a year for just $24, right? That's a really low price.
Yeah.
But for practicality reason, if we had it on Ethereum, for example, transactional costs, just for gas fees, is alone probably just that, right? So just for that one reason alone, it's not just that, but just for that one reason, it's a good reason, good
Yeah.
enough reason to think about different options. And there was, of course, other things that we weren't happy with on the Ethereum side with the security aspect as well. Uh, and just the general ethos of Cardano also fit well with us. So when we started doing research, um, even though Cardano was already on mine, we started doing research in 2020, around that time about where to potentially migrate to because of the practicality issues.
Hmm.
Um, and we chose Cardano first. A lot of ethos in terms of how we operate, research first, academia, and how they built up, laid the foundation before they started building up. And that's a lot of what we did, a lot of research, a lot of foundational work on making sure the architecture was right, especially with data compliance. So we built up that way. That was one of the reasons. The other reason was decentralization. Cardano is probably one of the most decentralized blockchains out there, if not the most, because there's very a lot of single node operators, right? Single node pool operators. So this is another reason, and the security aspect of it. Right? Those are the three things that really rely. Security is one of the things that go hand in hand with data, not just on the token side. And those are the three things. And what we've come to, I guess, nothing was a big surprise except for how well the community received us. That was kind of the biggest surprise. The biggest surprise of how open the community is. It's
Hmm.
also the community keeps you on your toes. That's something that we learned early. They are very attentive. They're much more vocal, which is a good thing because you want to make sure that you're on your toes, then
Hmm.
you're able to answer any questions that they might
And
have.
they ask questions. They definitely
Yes,
ask a
they
lot of
do.
questions.
They add questions, which is good, I think, because otherwise, why are we here, right? If we don't
Hmm.
if we don't understand the tech or don't understand what they're doing, it's kind of hard to, uh, I guess, quote unquote, invest in something, right? Or follow the project or follow the company. But that's a lot of people in the crypto space blindly do that, right?
Hmm.
Not in the Cardano space. I think a lot of people ask questions and good questions, and also very attentive in terms of what's going on with the project. They follow up in details. And the developer community, very, very helpful. They're quick to act on fixes. If there's any help, they're very helpful. So a lot of positives, definitely, especially based on the community. So first thing we noticed that wasn't surprising was Cardano community is very, very strong and very, very supportive if you're doing the right things.
So my last question is, how can our community on YouTube get involved and try out Iagon?
Yeah, I mean, we can follow our website,
Okay.
and all our socials are at the footer. So if you scroll all the way down, you can follow our Discord and Telegram. The website's www.iagon.com, and the Discord channel, Telegram channel, Discord. If you need any support, help, testing, any support with setting up Node, Twitter, we're pretty active as well. We have a great marketing team for Twitter, so they're very active and they respond very quickly, relatively quickly, especially if they're working when you're asking them questions. They're not working 24/7 though, but they're very active when they are. And we have Telegram as well, which is kind of the oldest social media that we've had since the beginning. But Telegram, it's not very much for tech support, it's more for communication with the community and things like that. Discord would be a good option if you were really looking for help, information, website, if you're looking for documentation and stuff like that.
Got it. I'll definitely link all your info down below. So I'll just like have that in the description for anybody who wants to check that out. Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you so much, Navjit, for all of your wisdom, for sharing what's up with Iagon. And yeah, if anybody has other questions too, you can just have them in the comments and I'll try to reach out as well.
Yeah.
But that's it for us today. Feel free to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts. Feel free to share this with your friends if you enjoyed this content, and we'll see you next time, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.